The girl in the cage. Deep underground, far from sunlight and noise, there was a secret human lab. The walls were cold steel, and the air smelled like metal and fear. In the center of the lab, there was a bright, glowing cage. Inside it sat a young alien girl. Her skin was silver, smooth like glass. Her eyes glowed faint blue, like stars lost in water. She looked small and weak. Her wrists were chained, her feet were bare, and her back had marks from electric whips. She didn't speak, not with her mouth. Every day, men in black suits and white coats came to look at her. They called her Subject 43. They poked her, scanned her, shocked her. She did not scream. She just stared, quiet, broken. But one man wasn't like the others. His name was Liam. He was not a soldier, not a doctor. He was just a maintenance worker. His job was to fix lights, clean pipes, and stay invisible. He had brown hair, kind eyes, and a soft heart. And one day, while changing a broken wire near her cage, he looked up and saw her eyes. She was staring at him, not like the others, not with hate, but with something different, something sad, something human. Liam paused. The wire in his hand sparked. He looked again. The girl was still watching him. And then he heard a whisper, not in his ears, in his mind. "Help me." He dropped the tool. He looked around. No one else seemed to hear anything. The guards were drinking coffee. The scientists were talking. Everything was normal. But in his head, the voice came again. "Please, don't let them hurt me." Liam froze. He couldn't believe it. The girl had spoken inside his mind. She was trying to talk to him, not with words, but with thoughts. Soft, broken thoughts. He went home that night, but couldn't sleep. He kept seeing her eyes. He kept hearing her voice. He knew she was in pain, and he knew no one cared. The next day, he came back early. He brought a small blanket in his toolbox. He waited for the guards to leave for lunch. Then, when no one was looking, he opened a small hatch in the side of her cage and slid the blanket in. She took it with shaking hands. For the first time, she smiled. Just a little, but enough. And Liam felt something strange. Warmth. Not from her, but from inside himself. He came back the next day with a small bottle of clean water. The girl drank it slowly, like she hadn't had water in days. She looked at him again, and again he heard the whisper, "Thank you." Days passed. Liam kept helping her. Small things. Food. Soft clothes. Even a toy, an old stuffed bear he found in the lost storage room. The girl hugged it tightly. She never let go. But something was changing. Liam started feeling her pain. When she was shocked, he felt a sharp sting in his arm. When she cried, he felt heavy sadness, like a storm in his heart. And when she slept, he saw her dreams, her memories. He saw her planet, a place full of light and floating cities. Her people were kind, peaceful, glowing like stars. But then war came, ships with human flags, fire, screams, darkness. Her parents were taken. She was taken. Liam woke up in sweat. He knew now, she wasn't just an alien. She was a child, lost, scared, alone. And she trusted him. But the lad was watching. One guard, Officer Hayes, noticed something. He saw Liam near the cage too often. He saw the girl looking healthier, stronger. And one day, he followed Liam with quiet steps. He saw Liam give her a fruit. And his eyes narrowed. The next day, the scientists came early. They looked angry. The girl was pulled from the cage. They dragged her into a dark room. Liam heard the door lock. He heard the machine start. And then, he heard her scream. His heart broke. He sat outside the door, fists tight, eyes full of tears. And in his mind, her voice came again. "Liam, please." He knew what he had to do. But could he do it? Whispers in the mind. Liam couldn't sleep again that night. His apartment was silent, but his mind was loud. He lay on his bed, eyes wide open, staring at the ceiling as the alien girl's scream echoed again and again in his head. He could still hear her voice, not her real voice, but the one inside his thoughts. Liam, please. His chest felt heavy. Guilt had become a shadow that followed him everywhere. Even in his dreams, he saw her eyes. Blue, full of pain, and still full of trust. The next morning, Liam walked into the lab with shaking hands. Everything looked normal. Too normal. Guards stood by the doors. Scientists drank coffee and talked like nothing had happened. But Liam knew something had changed. He passed by her cage. She was there, but different. Her arms had more marks. Her eyes were dull now, like the light inside her had dimmed. She didn't look up when he passed. The stuffed bear was lying near her feet, dirty and torn. He wanted to cry, but he couldn't. He was being watched. Officer Hayes stood near the camera station, arms crossed. His cold eyes followed Liam like a hunter waiting for prey. Liam tried to act normal. He picked up his toolbox and walked to the other side of the room. But every few minutes he looked at her, just a quick glance. She didn't move. Until he heard her again. "Don't stop. Please, you're the only one who hears me." His hands froze. He looked around. No one reacted. No one else heard it. Just him. "They hurt me because I trust you. But I still do." His heart dropped. Liam knew he had to do something. But what? He was just a maintenance worker. No gun, no power, just tools and a kind heart. That night, he did something dangerous. He snuck into the restricted database room. He had never done anything like this before, but he had learned the guard rotation times. He used a stolen keycard from an old storage locker, one he had found by accident weeks ago. Inside the computer system, he searched for Subject 43. What he found made his hands shake. There were photos, hundreds of them, videos, files, tests, surgeries, pain. The girl had been in this lab for months. They had taken her from a crash site. Her ship was destroyed. No name, no language. They called her a test asset. And they had orders. Learn how her mind works. Control it. Use it. Liam stepped back from the screen. They weren't just testing her. They were trying to weaponize her. He heard footsteps. Fast. Too fast. He shut down the system, grabbed his toolbox, and ran back to the maintenance room. He barely made it before a soldier passed by. That night, he heard her again. This time, not just words. Images. He saw a tall mountain under twin moons, a glowing flower field, alien children playing. Her memory. Her home. Then, fire. Screams. Humans in black armor. Burning ships. Her mother's voice calling her name. Sirena. Liam sat up straight. That was her name. Sirena, he whispered. In her cage, far away, her eyes opened slowly, for the first time in hours. And she smiled. Weak, but real. The next day, Liam left a message written inside a maintenance box hidden under her cage panel. "I won't let them hurt you again. I promise." She read it with her mind. And for the first time, she spoke back clearly in his head. "You are not like them. I feel your heart. It is light, not dark." He smiled. He didn't know how this bond worked. He didn't understand telepathy. But he didn't care. All he knew was this. She was not just an alien. She was alive. She was innocent. And she needed him. But something was coming. That afternoon, Officer Hayes walked up to Liam with a fake smile. Too fake. "Hey, Liam. You're always near Subject 43, just doing your job, right?" Liam nodded slowly. "Yes, just checking the systems." Hayes leaned closer. "Good. Because if I find out someone's getting too close to the freak, I'll make sure they're next in the cage. He patted Liam's shoulder hard and walked away. Liam's stomach twisted. He knew now. Time was running out. They were planning something worse, and he had to stop it. The punishment room. The morning felt wrong. The air inside the lab was colder than usual, too quiet. Liam walked in with his toolbox, just like every other day. But something had changed. Guards stood stiff near the cage. Their faces were tense. One of them held a strange-looking weapon, long with glowing blue coils. Liam had never seen it before. Scientists were whispering. One of them pointed at the alien girl, then at a clipboard. The girl, Sirena, sat still in the cage. Her eyes met Liam's for only a second. She looked scared, not confused, not sad, just scared. Liam's heart sank. He pretended to fix a wire nearby. He didn't want to draw attention. Not now. But every part of him was watching, listening. Two soldiers unlocked the cage door. Liam held his breath. "Come on, freak," one of them said. She didn't move. They grabbed her. She didn't fight. She didn't scream. But Liam saw her eyes, those soft, glowing eyes full of fear. She looked back at him as they pulled her away. And in his mind, he heard one word: help. He followed from a distance. He knew he was crossing a line. But he had to know where they were taking her. The soldiers led her through a hallway he'd never entered. It had no signs, no windows, just a red light above a thick metal door. They opened it with a scan. And then, they disappeared inside. The door slammed shut. Liam stood there, hidden behind a supply cart. His hands were shaking. Above the door was a nameplate. It read, "Punishment Room 7, Neural Override Lab." A sound echoed from the door. Not a scream. Something worse. A hum, deep and vibrating, followed by a long, high-pitched tone. Machines. Electricity. Maybe worse. Liam backed away slowly. He didn't want to be seen. He ran to the maintenance control room and locked the door behind him. His chest was tight. His fingers trembled as he opened the computer system again. He had access to the cameras, but not all of them. Punishment Room 7 was locked, red-tagged. But he had an idea. He pulled a secret cable from the back wall, one he had found weeks ago. It was an old maintenance feed that connected to forgotten parts of the system. He plugged in his device. The screen flickered. Then it lit up. He saw her. Sirena was strapped to a tall metal chair. Wires were connected to her head, her chest, even her fingers. Her body shook every few seconds. Her mouth opened, but no sound came out. A man stood beside her. Dr. Vance, the head of psychic testing. Liam had seen him before. Always cold, always calm. But now, he looked excited, like a hunter who had caught a rare animal. "Increase the frequency," Vance said. A scientist at the console nodded. Sirena's body jolted. "Readings?" Vance asked. "Her brain is resisting," the scientist said. "But the signal is changing. We might be able to break her psychic wall soon." Vance smiled. "Good. We'll make her a weapon. One that obeys human orders." Liam's stomach turned. He watched helplessly as they tortured her mind. Not her body this time. Her thoughts. They were trying to rewrite who she was. Turn her into a tool. But then something strange happened. The lights flickered. One of the screens glitched, and Liam felt a sharp pain in his head. A sudden wave of pressure, like something pushing into his skull. He dropped to the floor, groaning. Images flashed in his mind. Not memories, not dreams. A message. Sirena was reaching out to him. Not with words this time, but with raw emotion, pure energy. He saw fire, fear, the feeling of drowning in darkness. Then, his own face. He was her only light, her only hope. Then came a final thought, clear and direct. "They want to erase me. Please, Don't let me disappear. And just like that, the link broke. Liam gasped for air. He knew what they were doing now. They weren't just hurting her. They were trying to delete her mind. Everything she was. Everything she remembered. And soon, she wouldn't be the same. He ran out of the room. He didn't care anymore if someone saw him. He had to find a way in. But the punishment room needed a level 5 clearance. Liam only had level 2. He needed someone who could open the door, someone who trusted him, or someone he could trick. He thought of Mark. Mark was a systems technician. Friendly, quiet, always kept to himself. But he had level 5 access. Liam had helped him once when a pipe broke and nearly burned his hand. Maybe, just maybe. Liam found him in the server room. "Hey, Mark," he said, trying to keep his voice steady. "I need your help with a panel near the neural lab. It's overheating." Mark raised an eyebrow. "Near the override lab? That's a level 5 zone." "I know," Liam said quickly. "But if it melts, it could shut down half the lab's power. Can you just open the door for me? I'll handle the rest." Mark hesitated. Liam smiled. "You know I won't mess it up." Finally, Mark sighed. "Fine, but make it quick." As they walked toward the punishment room, Liam's heart beat faster and faster. He wasn't sure what he was going to do, but he knew this. He had one chance to save her before she was gone forever. Plans in the dark. Liam couldn't sleep. Again. But this time, it wasn't because of fear. It was because of fire. Something had changed inside him. He had seen enough. The pain, the cruelty, the lies. They were not scientists anymore. They were monsters in white coats, trying to erase a child's soul. And Liam couldn't stay quiet any longer. He lay awake, staring at the ceiling of his tiny apartment, his mind spinning like a storm. His hands were still shaking from what he had seen in the punishment room. The way her body jolted, the way her eyes rolled back, the way she screamed without sound. But worst of all, the way her thoughts begged him, "Don't let me disappear." He had made a promise, and now it was time to keep it. Liam turned on his old tablet and pulled up the blueprint of the lab. Most of the data was restricted, but he had been in the system long enough to find the cracks. He found something interesting. An old tunnel, built during the early days of the lab, used for emergency escape and supply transport. It was sealed now, forgotten by most. But Liam knew someone who could help open it. Mark. The next morning, Liam found Mark in the storage room. He was organizing tools, quiet as always. Liam closed the door behind him. "Mark," he said, lowering his voice, "I need to tell you something, but you have to promise you won't report me." Mark raised an eyebrow. "This is about the alien girl, isn't it?" Liam froze. "How do you?" "I'm not blind, Liam," Mark said. "I've seen you watching her, sneaking food, leaving small things behind. I guessed something was going on." Liam looked down. "They're hurting her, trying to erase her mind. She's not dangerous. She's just a kid, and she's scared." Mark was silent for a moment. Then he nodded. "I've seen the reports. They want to turn her into a living weapon. That's not science. It's war." Liam stepped closer. "I want to get her out. There's an old tunnel beneath Sector C. We can use it. I can handle the locks. But I need access to the gate. Your badge has level 5. Mark leaned against the wall, thinking. "You're asking me to betray the lab. Betray Earth Command." Liam looked him straight in the eye. "I'm asking you to save an innocent life." After a long pause, Mark sighed. "Okay, I'm in." But just as Liam felt a weight lift, Mark added, "But we have to move fast. I overheard Vance this morning. He said the final override test is happening tomorrow. Once it's done, she won't be the same anymore." Liam felt cold all over. They had less than 24 hours. That night, they moved in shadows. Mark kept watch near the security post, while Liam slipped through maintenance doors. He climbed into dusty vents, unlocked long-forgotten panels, rewired control boxes. He reached the old tunnel gate at 2:17 a.m. It was rusted shut, but Liam had tools and fury. He worked for 2 hours straight, sweating, cutting, breaking, until finally, the gate creaked open, revealing a narrow hallway covered in dust and spider webs. But at the end of that hallway was freedom. He closed the gate and sealed it again, just in case. Next, he returned to her. Sirena. She lay in the cage, barely awake. Her skin was pale, her breath slow. The stuffed bear was clutched in her hands like it was the last thing she had. Liam whispered, "I'm going to get you out. Tomorrow. Hold on." She didn't speak, but her mind did. "I trust you." He smiled, though tears filled his eyes. "We leave at 3 o'clock. Stay ready." But just as he turned to go, a loud alarm rang through the lab. Red lights flashed. His heart stopped. "Intruder alert," the voice echoed. "Level 2 clearance breach in System Room 9. Liam ran. He knew where that was. Mark. He reached the control room, only to find the door open, and Mark on the floor. A guard stood over him with a stun baton. "Freeze." Liam didn't think. He grabbed a fire extinguisher and slammed it into the guard's back. The man collapsed. "Mark," he whispered, dropping to his knees. Mark groaned, blood on his lip. "They traced my login. Too soon. I wasn't careful." "We have to go now," Liam said. But Mark shook his head. "You go. Get her. I'll stay behind and wipe the cameras." "They'll kill you," Liam whispered. "Maybe," Mark said. "But it's worth it." Liam grabbed his hand. "Thank you." "Don't thank me. Just get her out." Liam ran. Every hallway was now full of red light and locked doors. He had to take a different path, through the old vent system. It was tight, hot, dark. He reached the cage just as 2 guards were approaching it. "Orders from Vance," one said. "Move her to the override chamber now. No more delays." Liam jumped down from the vent like a shadow. Everything happened fast. A wrench flew through the air, hitting one guard in the head. The other reached for his gun, but Sirena raised her hand. A pulse of blue light exploded from her palm, knocking him out cold. Liam stared, stunned. She was weak, but her power wasn't gone. She stumbled, and he caught her. "You saved me," he whispered. She looked up, her voice trembling in his head. "Now we save each other." They ran into the darkness of the tunnel. Behind them, alarms screamed louder. The lab had discovered everything. And the real chase had just begun. The great escape. The tunnel was colder than Liam expected. His breaths came fast as he helped Sirena walk through the narrow underground path. Her steps were slow. Her body trembled. But she didn't stop. Not once. Above them, alarms still echoed. "Escape alert. All units, secure the lower sectors. Repeat, Subject 43 has escaped containment." Liam cursed under his breath. They had only minutes, maybe seconds, before soldiers flooded the emergency tunnel. And worse, the system would soon identify where the exit gate was breached. They had to move fast. "We're almost there," Liam whispered. Sirena said nothing, but her hand gripped his tighter. In his mind, he heard her voice, soft, afraid. "They won't stop, Liam. They'll follow us." "Then we make them regret it," he replied. The tunnel shook. Dust fell from the ceiling. They weren't alone anymore. Meanwhile, above them, chaos had broken loose. Dr. Vance stared at the security feed, his face pale with rage. "How did this happen?" he barked. "How did they get past the cameras?" A soldier stepped forward, nervous. We think someone helped her. An inside job." "Who?" "Liam, the maintenance worker, and Mark. Vance's hands curled into fists. Find them. Bring them back. Dead, if needed. Back in the tunnel, Liam and Serena finally reached the end. The gate was still sealed shut, but the bolts were loose just as Liam left them. He turned the final latch. The gate creaked open slowly. Outside, the night air hit their faces like a wave of freedom. They were in the edge of the desert, far beyond the facility fences. Under the stars, everything felt wide and open. Real, but there was no time to breathe. Searchlights appeared on the horizon. "They're here," Serena whispered. A low hum filled the air. Drones. 6 black drones zipped through the sky, scanning the ground. "Run," Liam shouted. They sprinted across the sand, slipping and stumbling. Sirena's energy was fading again. She had used too much back in the cage. Too much to stop the guards. Liam carried her now, her arms around his neck. But the drones were fast. And behind them, human trucks roared through the dunes. Liam saw a shadow ahead, a broken metal structure, half buried in sand. He ran for it, hoping it would hide them. Inside, he found a hatch. "What is this place?" he asked aloud. Sirena's eyes fluttered open. Her voice touched his mind weakly. This is part of my ship." Liam's heart skipped a beat. "Your ship, the one that crashed." "Yes, the escape pod. They never found this piece." Liam laid her down gently and began pulling cables, wiping sand away from control panels. The ship was old, burned, but still intact. He didn't know alien technology, but somehow the controls reacted to her presence. The ship lit up. A faint glow from the console pulsed like a heartbeat. Outside, the trucks stopped. Soldiers jumped down. Footsteps approached fast. "They're inside," someone yelled. Liam looked at the door. There was no way to lock it. Then, gunfire. Bullets tore through the walls. Liam covered Serena with his body. "Hold on." A soldier kicked open the hatch and aimed. Before he could shoot, a bright wave exploded from Sirena's chest. Time froze. The air shimmered. The walls shook. Every soldier was thrown back by an invisible force. And then, silence. Liam turned to her. Her eyes were glowing brighter than ever. Her skin shimmered like starlight. "What did you do?" he whispered. "I don't know." Her voice was faint. "I felt something. Deep inside. It just happened." She had protected them, but at a cost. She fell back, unconscious. No, stay with me," Liam begged. The ship began to power up. Screens flashed symbols he didn't understand. But one button glowed red. It looked like launch. He pressed it. The ground beneath them shook. Outside, more trucks were arriving. But they were too late. The pod lifted. Dust and flames burst from beneath as it rose into the sky. The soldiers screamed and scattered. From the clouds above, it looked like a star breaking free from the earth. Minutes later, Liam sat by Sirena inside the ship. Her chest was rising slowly. The stars outside the window were beautiful, more beautiful than anything he had ever seen. "We did it," he whispered. She opened her eyes slightly. "We're not safe yet." Liam looked at the radar. She was right. A human battleship was following them. They weren't done running. Not yet. Chased through the wasteland, the ship shook. Not a little. Not gently. It rattled like a metal can in a storm. Liam held onto the control panel as alarms screamed around him. Red lights blinked. The screen flashed one message over and over. Target locked. Human battleship in pursuit. He turned to Sirena. She was lying in a small medical pod, still unconscious. Her chest rose and fell slowly. Her skin glowed dimly, like a fading star. "Come on," Liam whispered. "You have to wake up." Outside the window, space stretched wide and black. But behind them, a shadow grew larger. The human ship. They had followed them. How? How had they tracked the pod? Liam's eyes scanned the control panel. Then he saw it. A small blinking chip, hidden inside the power core. A tracker. They planted this in you, Liam muttered. Probably when they took you from your ship. He ripped the chip out and crushed it under his boot. But it was too late. The human ship had already locked onto their coordinates. A voice came through the speaker, cold and firm. Unknown vessel, power down immediately. Surrender the asset. You will not be warned again. Liam's hands trembled. He looked back at Sirena. No, he wouldn't give her back. Not to them. Not ever. He pulled the escape lever. The alien ship dropped sharply toward a nearby planet, a dry, dead-looking world covered in sand and rock. The ship entered the planet's atmosphere like a burning comet. Fire surrounded them. Everything shook. Liam gritted his teeth, pulling hard on the controls. The ship hit the ground hard, skidding, bouncing, smashing into dunes. Then, darkness. Liam woke up with sand in his mouth. His head was spinning. His back ached. He pushed open the ship door. Heat hit him like a wall. The sky was orange, filled with dusty clouds. The ground was dry and cracked. Nothing green. No water. Just endless wasteland. He crawled back into the pod and checked on Sirena. She was still alive, but weaker now. He found a small energy vial inside the ship. Alien tech. Glowing liquid. He placed it near her mouth. As it touched her lips, her breathing eased. But she didn't wake up. Not yet. Liam knew they couldn't stay here. He grabbed supplies from the ship. A scanner, 2 water packs, and a stun pistol. He lifted Sirena into his arms and stepped into the wasteland. They had to move. Hours passed. The planet was worse than he imagined. Dust storms, deep cracks in the earth, strange noises in the wind. Liam was exhausted, but he kept walking. Because behind them, in the sky, he saw it. The human ship had landed. They were coming. And not just soldiers this time. Drones, tanks, and something worse. Liam remembered the files he had read back at the lab. He remembered the word. Retrievers. They weren't human. They were machines built to hunt and capture alien life. And they never stopped. As night fell, the temperature dropped fast. Liam found a cave. He wrapped Sirena in his jacket and lit a small fire. For a moment, silence. He looked up at the stars. Why her? He whispered. Why do they want her so badly? And then a voice answered, soft, inside his mind. Because of what I carry. He turned. Sirena was awake. Barely. Her voice was weak, but clear in his head. They don't just want me. They want the memory crystal inside me. Liam blinked. What crystal? My kind, when we are born, we are given a crystal. It holds knowledge, history, power, from our ancestors. Liam sat beside her. You mean, they want to use it as a weapon? Yes, she whispered. But they don't know. The crystal is alive. If they take it by force, it will burn them. Liam nodded slowly. So we keep them from getting it. But Sirena shook her head. You don't understand. The crystal has chosen you. His heart skipped. Me. When I connected with you, when I reached out, it felt your heart, your pain, your kindness. It bonded. Suddenly, Liam remembered something. The night he touched her cage, when he felt her sadness in his chest, when he saw her memories. That wasn't her doing. It was the crystal. So what does that mean? He asked. It means you can protect it now. You can use it, if the time comes. Liam looked at his hands. They felt the same, but something deep inside was changing. Before he could ask more, a sound came from outside the cave. Metal footsteps. Many. He stood up, pistol ready. A red light scanned across the entrance. The retrievers had found them. Sirena tried to sit up, but she was too weak. Liam turned to her. Don't move, no matter what happens. He stepped out into the cold, dead night and faced the machines. Their bodies were tall, armored, insect-like. No faces, no voices, only one word lit on their chest. Reclaim. They raised their weapons. Liam raised his hands, but just as they fired, a blue wave exploded from his body. It wasn't fire. It wasn't light. It was memory. It came from his chest, warm and glowing, and knocked the retrievers back like a blast of wind. They twitched, sparked, and dropped. Liam stood there, shocked. His hands were still glowing. From inside the cave, Serena smiled faintly. The crystal trusts you. He turned to her, breathless. Then let's finish this, he said, because now he wasn't just running. He was ready to fight back. The final stand. The wind howled through the broken canyon as Liam stared down at the field of fallen machines. Retrievers, once unstoppable hunters, now lay scattered and smoking, their metal shells cracked and twitching. Liam's hands still glowed faint blue, the power from the memory crystal pulsing quietly inside him. He had no idea how he had done it, and he knew it wasn't over. Behind him, inside the cave, Serena was slowly regaining her strength. Her silver skin shimmered in the firelight, and her eyes, though tired, had a new brightness. She had seen what he did, and she knew what it meant. Liam turned to her. More are coming, he said softly. I know, she replied, her voice now clearer in his mind. They won't stop until they take the crystal, or until we stop them forever. Liam nodded. Then we fight. At dawn, the sky burned orange. High above, the human battleship hovered like a shadow of death. Its engines roared, and dozens of smaller ships dropped from its belly, each carrying soldiers, drones, and armored retrievers. The final wave. This was it. Liam stood at the edge of the canyon, with Sirena beside him. She was weak, but she had gathered what little energy she could. The bond between them was stronger now. They didn't need to speak out loud anymore. Thoughts, memories, feelings, they shared it all. We can't take them all, Liam said. We won't have to, Serena answered. Not if the crystal shows you what to do. He looked down at his hands. They didn't glow anymore, but he could feel something deep inside, like a heartbeat that wasn't his, a presence, waiting. The lead ship landed hard on the ground, kicking up dust. Soldiers stepped out in rows, their boots heavy, their guns ready. Behind them, Dr. Vance emerged. His face was calm, too calm. He walked forward alone. Liam, he said, I expected more from you. Liam didn't reply. You don't understand what you're holding, Vance continued. The crystal is more than just a memory vault. It's a weapon, one that can bend minds, break armies. With your help, we could bring peace. You mean control, Liam said coldly. Vance's eyes narrowed. I won't ask again. Give us the girl. Give us the crystal. Serena stepped forward, standing tall despite her pain. You can't take what doesn't belong to you. Vance raised his hand. Hundreds of weapons aimed at them. Then you both die. For a second, the world was still. Then, the crystal woke up. A wave of blue energy exploded from Liam's chest. But this time, it was different. It wasn't just a blast. It was light, sound, memory. Every soldier stopped. Every drone froze. Every machine paused. And they all saw it. Visions, not from Liam, not from Sirena, but from the crystal itself. They saw Sirena's homeworld, its beauty, its kindness, its fall. They saw the humans invading, not out of need, but out of greed. They saw what the lab had done. The pain, the torture, the lies. Some soldiers dropped their weapons. Others fell to their knees, overwhelmed. Vance screamed, ignore it, fight it. But they couldn't. Because the crystal didn't just share memory. It shared truth. Vance raised his gun. "You think you've won." He fired. The bullet flew straight at Sirena, but Liam moved first. He stepped in front of her. The bullet hit and never reached him. It stopped midair, caught in a glowing shield. Not created by Sirena. Created by Liam. The crystal had accepted him fully now. Vance's hand shook. "What are you?" Liam stepped forward, his eyes glowing bright blue. "I'm human," he said, "but not like you." He raised his hand. The earth beneath Vance cracked. Light wrapped around him. The weapon fell from his hand. Then, silence. Vance dropped to the ground, unconscious. The soldiers backed away slowly. None of them dared to fire again. Hours later, the human ships left the planet. Not because they were forced, but because they had seen what Liam showed them. Truth had done what bullets couldn't. Sirena and Liam sat on a rock, watching the sky. She leaned against him, tired but calm. "It's over," she said. Liam shook his head. "No, it's just the beginning." He looked at the crystal, now a small glowing orb floating between them. "What do we do now?" he asked. "We find others," she said. "My people are still out there, scattered, hiding, waiting." Liam smiled. "Then we bring them home." She looked at him. "Will you stay with me?" He nodded. "Always." Far in the distance, among the stars, a faint blue light blinked. A signal. A call to those who still remembered the old ways. A new story was beginning. And this time, it would be written together.